So welcome once again. Here we are now going to um, create a method or many methods, more than one of course. The first method will help us to um, delete or remove data from this inserting or input fields after we have saved or done a specific transaction. So the first method will be called reset method, public void reset fields. In this reset field method, we're going to be removing everything that was inside those text fields in combo box, or it returns them to default. So we're going to start with the type combo box, then set selected index to 0, and then we say name text field to set text to null, or you can either use empty or null. It's all possible. Then we say quantity combo box to set selected index to 02. So I'm going to repeat it for the quality combo box too, because it is pretty much the same. It is a combo box. And then finally, for the price text field, I'm going to say set text to null to, or I can also put these semicolons to show, or like these quotations, I don't remember how we call it, to say that we make the text field empty. But I think the easiest or the best way to do it is to say null. So, and then finally this date chooser text field, we're going to say entry date chooser the set date to null. So there won't be any date when we have finished saving the date. So here is how it works. We're going to say after we do all these activities with the same button, we want to display data in the table. And after displaying data in the table, we want to reset the fields. And after resetting the fields, we are going to also display a message that tells us that we have saved. So this is pretty much what the reset field will do. So let's run and see how it works. So here is it. We are going to choose, for instance, we want pastry name cakes 1 2. The quantity we say like 30. They were good. The price like 5,000, and then we chose a date, and then we save. So what is going to happen if I click save? This data here is going to be put in the database and then retrieved to be displayed inside this table. But that is not all. We're going to also remove these things that we had selected here, and then we're going to get a message that tells us that we have successfully saved. So here it is. As I clicked save, we got a message, we got the data entered, put in the table, but we also got our input fields clean. So now we can choose something again. We can choose meat. We can say yeah, fish 1 2, and then 2, like very good price, like I don't know, and we choose a date, and then we save. As we save, data is going to be saved in the table, but we're going to also remain with our input fields clean. So this is what also can happen when we use this reset button, when we click on the reset button, we can also pretty much do the same as what we did here. We can directly reset these fields. So I'm going to also add that reset fields method to this reset button, so that whenever we are going to be needing to reset the fields in the coming codes, we're going to be able to do it just by clicking a button. So another thing to show you here is that what shows that our project is running properly is that for every transaction you want to do, we are going to get connected and get disconnected. If we save, we get connected and then get disconnected. So here we continue. We also want that whenever we click on this reset or clear button, we're going to also be able to clean our input fields. So we're going to go where we have the codes for this reset button, and you also add that method called reset fields method. So whenever we click that button, those fields will be cleaned immediately. So the next thing we want is that whenever we click on any row in this table, we're going to get back this data in these fields. So why do we need to do that? Whenever we get data back in these fields, we can be able to modify whatever we want. We can, for instance, if you want to change the name of this field, this component meat, want to change the specification of meat, we need to first have it here so that to be able to modify whatever I want. So I'm going to create a method or like codes that will be helping us to get data from this table back to these input fields. So what do? We say right click on this, or we do right click on this table and say event, or choose event, mouse clicked. So whenever we click on the table, what will be happening is we're going to get our data back. So how do we get our data back? First of all, we need to be able to modify or do pretty much everything with our table. So I'm going to use this default table model to be able to modify or do whatever I want on the table. So we're going to declare it and call the table. Our table is called data table, I guess. Yes, and then set and say get model. So now we have a way to do what we want on the table. So first of all, we're going to get the row. We first need to get the row that we have selected. Which row have we selected? So then we're going to say data table get selected row. So now we clicked on the table, and now we're given the specific number of the row that was selected. So after getting the row that was selected, we're going to use that row number that was selected to display data. So we're going to, for instance, say that to return data into the type combo box, we're going to say set selected item, and then the item I'm going to say model dot get value at row 0 or at selected row number 0, and then we're going to cast it to string. This is what we're going to do. So if we click on the table, So let's try it anyway. Let's try to do it. Let's run the project and see what is going to happen. We click on the table, and this type combo box is going to change the value. So if you have pastry, the data here will be pastry. If you have beverage, the data here is beverage. If you click meat, we get meat. If you click vegetables, you get vegetables. So now if I wanted to modify data from this table, from this row of data, I'll be able to choose. If I don't want vegetables, I can choose anything else. Or if I don't want the name of these vegetables to be cabbage, I can say like, okay, let it be like carrots. So I change the name from cabbage to carrots. But first of all, to be able to do that is I have to first be able to select data from this table back to the input fields. So the next rows, the next lines of code are what I'm going to be doing. That is what I'm going to be doing. So we're going to be back after I have finished the codes for these lines. So here we're back. I've been adding some codes for these previous components like the name field, quantity, quality, price, and now we come to the date. How are we going to do so that whenever we click on a row, we're going to be returning with the specific format of the date that we have entered previously? You should remember that in the database, date is normally not saved in the same way as it is entered here in the text field. For instance, we can see if I choose a date, it will be having format November, NOV, 11th, 2021. But here from the table, it is written in a different way. So how do we get back this format of the table? How do we convert this data from the table, this date, how do you convert it into this format? This is going to do with the next line of codes. But by first checking the previous components, now you can see that whenever I click on a row, we're going to be getting, the components are going to be changing. So this is what we want. But now we're remaining with this date chooser. So here you go. We're going to say java.util.date. So this is literally equivalent to importing this class. We can say this means that it's another class we're going to import. The class is from the package util. We're going to say import java.util.date. So after importing it, we're going to use it here. We're going to give it a name. We have already gave it a name as date. And then we say that it is equivalent to new simple date format. We're going to give it a new date format, and that date format is and then we say dot parse string so here we're going to put the data that we retrieved from the table. Then we say the model is going to give us the value at the selected row, and that data will be from row or cell number 6, which has index as 5. And then I say dot to string. So this is pretty much it. So the next thing is going to be, let me first make sure there is no error here. Okay, so normally there is no error. All we need is to surround this block with a try and catch, and that's it. Then next we're going to return the date format, the date, or like the entry date chooser. We're going to give it back the date, and this is it. So let's see how it works, if it really converts back the, the date format into the original one. So when we click on a specific row, do we get the date back? Yes, we do. So if we click on this one, so you see, here we have this format of date, but here we have back the original date format. So this is it. This is how we can, like get data back from the database, and we put that data into a table. And after getting that data from the table, we are now able to retrieve it and be able to modify it. So in this video, what we did is we added a method. The first method was the method to use when you want to reset these fields. For instance, if you save, you want that all these input fields from type to entry date, they'll be cleaned so that we'll be able to add something else without needing to delete. And another thing, we also put that method into this reset button so that whenever we have clicked on one of these columns or rows, they are rows. So whenever we click on these rows, we'll be getting this data back. But what happens when we want to get this data out so that we can put something else? So we click on this reset button and our input fields are cleaned. So now we can save something else. So this is it for this video. Now we're coming back looking at how to update and finally delete data from this table and from the database. Thank you so much.